Hi, Anthony Dallmann-Jones, Dr. DJ, here with another school story. The purpose of school stories is to share a message. There's so many messages come out of education, but I have these memories that are just spectacular of certain incidents and certain individuals, and that's the one I want to talk about today. Edna Ramseyer. She was a college professor and one of the rarest people I have ever met. There were two things about her that I'm going to talk about. First was one of the activities that she did. It was a home ec course in college, and it was on family living, and I was very interested in that. There was no college courses in family psychology, which was my dual major, biology and psychology. But also, it turned out it was a class with all girls in it. So, and I was the only guy. Somewhere in the yearbook, there's a picture of me in this classroom. But anyway, one of her activities, it was called Family Living, was to place us it was a small town, 4,000 people, to place us with an agreement in a family home. And the rule was that we were just to be like another family member with responsibilities, not special treatments, nothing like that. And I was placed in this family, the triplets, who, two T's at the end, who actually, all those little gauges, triplet gauges, they own all those. They didn't act rich, but it turns out they were. And it was a set of parents, and I think it was like 6 kids, and 2 of the kids were in high school, and then there was a little guy who was like 4 years old. And, I helped wash the dishes. I came home and studied. I slept there, ate there with them, and very wonderful people. I was there for 3 weeks, and for 2 weeks I thought, they can't be keeping this up this long. This must really be them. Because you always think that all families are basically the same. Okay, they're a little different colors, shapes, sizes, and tone of voice, neighborhoods, etc. But it all feels the same. This felt nothing like my family. They never shouted at the kids. There was no name calling. There was no reprimanding. They just suggested things, and the kids did it, And they took turns washing the dishes. They had a different, like a Thursday night was clean the garage night, and Wednesday was clean the basement night, and Sunday was the only day they watched TV was Sunday. They would get out, have TV trays, and the kids were allowed to sit in there and watch, I think, Disney and something else on Sunday. And they'd go bicycling together. They played touch football together out in the field, even the little guy. And it was just marvelous. And it was ingenious that Edna did that. How else could you get that across to people that families are really unique? And I've often said, families like an assembly line. And, wouldn't the Ford Motor Company be surprised if they put all these Ford parts on the assembly line and a Chevy truck came off the end? Of course not. It's going to be a Ford motor car. It's going to come off the end if you have Ford parts. In a way, a family's like that. If you have kindness and respect and gentleness, it just permeates every person in the family. It's simple. So I thought it was an ingenious thing she did. The second thing about Edna is she could listen. I look back on it, psychologically speaking, and realize what she did. She created a vacuum between you and her. Nature abhors a vacuum. She created a vacuum. She wasn't trying to impose anything on you. She was trying to draw things out of you, and she did that by asking leading questions. Like, what did you find significant staying with those people? What really grabbed you? And then she leaned forward. She wanted to know. It wasn't like, okay, I'm a professor, I got to ask these questions. I ask them of everybody, And she took notes. Like she was learning, oh, yeah, that's a good aspect, something I'd never considered. She took notes, not to grade me, but just like she was a learner. And I was the teacher for some strange reason. And I've always thought that's just that's a quality we could all learn, is how to really listen to other people as if, I remember Henry Kissinger's wife. Henry Kissinger was not the best looking man in the world, but his wife said that when you talked to Henry Kissinger, it was like you were the only person in the world. I find that seemingly sounding easy to do, but our heads are so busy, and it's really a sense of honoring and respecting someone's time when you're with them, to at least give them equal time to really hear them, to create that vacuum and let them pour things out. Now, where I really perfected this capability was as a counselor. After I was through teaching for a while, I had a counseling practice. And that's exactly what I did, because people need to talk in a safe place. And I remember a client once, just to make an example here, said, well, what do you think I should do? I said, well, what do you think you should do? And he said, I know you're going to say that. I come in here and pay you all this money for you to tell me what to do. And I go, well, I don't do that. Well, what am I here for? I said, well, you're here to find a solution, but you're not here to find my solution. You're here to find your solution. And sometimes by talking about it and feeling our way through it, the solution just comes up automatically. And sure enough, it did. He discovered one of the reasons he was having such a hard time and drinking and so forth was because he hated his father, and he felt ashamed and guilty for doing that, especially after his father had passed away and he didn't have a chance to make peace with him. So I think it's a lesson that we can share. We can do this with our kids, with our spouses, with our friends. Create that vacuum by giving undivided attention and ask good questions, and then sit back, actually lean forward and listen to the answers. And those will lead you to other questions. If they want to hear about you, they'll ask you. So I want to thank you, Edna Ramseyer. Another thing she did that was really blew my mind is we had to do like 10 magazine articles and write, a synopsis and so forth of what we learned from it. She called me to her office and she said, you handed yours in on 4x6 cards and it was so brief. She said, so I went over to the library and pulled out the journals, and you really did capture the essence of those journals, and I apologize for not trusting you. Wow. She was really, and always smiling, really a light-spirited person. And she taught me a lot about listening and about respecting others' time, and that great gift, what a family can really be like. It's amazing. Yeah. Thanks, Edna.